Subscribe to our channel and also press the bell icon to never miss an update from Kautilya's Fincast.
Welcome to Kautilya's Fincast for April 1st to 10th, 2021.
Let's begin with corporate news.
This deal of Wipro acquiring Ampion aims to bring scale and market agility to respond to the growing customers' demands. The acquisition is expected to be completed by June 30th. The Hyundai's wholesales in March stood at 52,600 units, on the back of high demand for its hatchbacks and sport utility vehicles. Indigo said it will subsequently launch the facility called 6C Port in partnership with Kautilya in Mumbai and Bengaluru. The project received a 24-year concession in 2011 for strengthening and widening the two-lane highway, and toll collection began in June 2015. The GMR Group has floated a new business vertical, GMR Innovex, to foster and drive innovation with startups, academia, research institutions, and other platforms. MasterCard would hold a minority stake in AMCBV on completion of the deal, with Africa continuing to hold the majority stake. Jaguar Land Rover India aims to grow faster than the luxury car market in the domestic market in the current fiscal. The board of Bajaj Electricals on March 25, 2021, had approved rolling out of a VRS for 281 permanent employees in the workmen and staff category at the Shikohabad unit. Bharti Airtel partnered with the health app Apollo 24/7 as part of their exclusive thanks benefits. This collaboration will include virtual consultation with doctors, online test booking, home delivery of medicines, etc. LG Electronics Incorporated will exit its unprofitable smartphone business after years of struggling to compete with industry leaders Apple Incorporated and Samsung Electronics Company, as well as fast-growing Chinese rivals. Tata Motors Limited announced the opening of 10 new dealerships in the National Capital Region to improve retail sales of its vehicles. Auto tech company Car Dekho's new campaign highlights driving behavior in the younger generation, especially about senior citizens, who are often subjected to incessant honking and even rage. Online gaming firm Dangal Games is venturing into fantasy gaming, with the launch of the Fantasy Dangal platform ahead of Indian Premier League (IPL) 2021. Commercial vehicles major Ashok Leyland has decided to form 2 new subsidiaries as part of its plans to strengthen green transport solutions. Fintech platform Grow Capital has partnered with SBM Bank India to launch credit cards for small businesses. The GRO Smart Business credit cards are powered by RuPay along with Encash. Samsung plans to increase its market share from the current 24.6% in the fully automatic washing machine category to 32% by the end of the third quarter. P&G's long-running campaign, and for its detergent brand Ariel, has made it to the list of most awarded work for media excellence by the World Advertising Research Center (WARC) for 2020. No Frills carrier AirAsia India said it has processed refunds for 99% of tickets for flights cancelled during the COVID-19 induced nationwide lockdown last year. The construction subsidiary of engineering behemoth Larsen & Toubro (L&T) has secured a major contract to set up a 1.5 gigawatts solar plant in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. China imposed a fine of 18.2 billion yuan, $2.8 billion, on Alibaba Group after an anti-monopoly probe, part of a regulatory crackdown that has raised concerns about the future of Jack Ma's tech empire.
Let's begin with market news.
NSE has announced a revision in the market lot of derivative contracts on indices. NSE has reduced the lot size to 50 from the existing market lot of 75 on Nifty 50. Shares of Indian Overseas Bank, Bank of India, Central Bank of India, and UCO Bank rose to 10% after the government infused 14,500 crore in these banks to improve their financial health. The country's foreign exchange reserves declined by $2.986 billion to reach $579.285 billion in the week ended March 26. Coinbase Global Incorporations, the largest U.S. cryptocurrency exchange, has received approval from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission to list its shares on the Nasdaq. Ether, the world's second-largest cryptocurrency, rose to a record high, as the rally in digital assets continues to broaden beyond Bitcoin. Mutual funds invested 2,476 crore in equities in March, making it the first such infusion in 10 months, as consolidation in the market provided investment opportunities to fund managers. Yes Bank has managed to restore its deposit base by a 54.2% increase in its deposits for financial year 21 to 1.62 trillion rupees, but loan growth is another matter, given the onset of an unexpected pandemic. S&P 500 and Dow hit record highs, as investors cheered strong jobs data and looked for a report on the services sector, with signals that 2021 could see the best annual economic growth in nearly 4 decades. Oil futures eased in early Asian trading after OPEC Plus decided to boost production over the coming months, and Saudi Arabia raised prices for shipments to customers in its main market of Asia. Infosys Limited became the fourth Indian firm to hit 6 trillion rupees in market capitalization, after its shares surged over 141% in the last 1 year. The cryptocurrency market capitalization hit an all-time peak of $2 trillion, as gains over the last several months attracted demand from both institutional and retail investors. Adani Group has become India's third conglomerate to cross $100 billion in market capitalization, with shares of 4 of its 6 listed companies soaring to an all-time high. Bitcoin has come a long way to hit its all-time high of $61,711.87 this year. The breakneck rally over the past year has rewarded cryptocurrency believers and minted 9 new crypto billionaires. Shares of banks rose after the RBI kept the repo rate unchanged at 4%, while maintaining its accommodative stance in its first bi-monthly monetary policy statement of fiscal 2021-22. Shares of Reliance Industries Limited traded largely flat on 8 April, ignoring the fine imposed by market regulators on the Ambani brothers. Indian stock markets rose on 8 April, extending gains from the previous day, with benchmark indices up 0.7% each, as the RBI stuck to its accommodative stance and assured of maintaining sufficient liquidity. Yields on 10-year government bonds fell for the third straight day on 9 October and hit a 2-month low. Nifty IT index scored its best show in a decade in fiscal year 21, as investors remained bullish on the sector's prospects following a COVID-induced surge in digitalization during the year. Shriram Properties Limited has filed a draft red herring prospectus with SEBI to raise nearly Rs 800 crores via an IPO, which comprises a fresh issue of Rs 250 crores and an offer for sale of Rs 550 crores. The US spy agencies predict an increasingly leaderless and unstable world in the coming decades, as trends such as artificial intelligence, digital currencies, and climate change reshape the global arena.
Let's begin with economy news.
The success of the disinvestment plan will depend on how effectively it's implemented. An independent commission with requisite powers and staffed by professionals, or a separate ministry could help. The drivers of decline: decrease in women's labor force participation rates, which fell from 24.8% to 22.3%. The shares of women in professional and technical further roles declined to 29.2%. The Indian government is expected to meet the suspected revised revenue targets in the financial year 2021-22. But there are concerns now, with the new wave of the surge in COVID cases. The Revenues and Department of Economic Affairs stated all-time high records collection of GSTs due to economic recovery and increased compliance with the use of technology. The US economy added 916,000 jobs in March, and the unemployment rate fell to 6%, as the labor market is finally working to pre-pandemic norms, as the number of vaccinations continues to rise. French schools and non-essential stores such as clothing chains will now be shut for 4 weeks, as COVID-19 cases surged in recent weeks, edging up numbers of patients in intensive care units. India's slow but sure economic rebound faces rising in inflation flared by high commodity prices as the next big hurdle to attain faster overall recoveries. Demand for goods and services this year is expected to spill well beyond US borders, making the US largest single contributor to global growth. For the first time since 2005, India is well equipped with adequate testing and health infrastructure, and economic activity has adapted to the pandemic. This prospect is further bolstered by the fast rollout of vaccination. The gap between the first peak to start of the second wave has been 151 days in India, while it was low in other countries, implies the readiness of the health infrastructures. The International Monetary Fund has projected India's economic growth rate to rise sharply at the historically high level of 12.5% in 2021. This growth rate will also be higher than China. Lockdown curbs put in place in Maharashtra to stem the further surge in COVID-19 cases can dent India's economic growth. Disruption in the country's largest regional economy and most industrialized state can undermine India's overall growth. The Center for Monitoring Indian Economy said, household financial savings in India shot up to 21% of GDP in the first quarter of fiscal years 2020-21, post-averaging 7.2% in 2018-19. India witnessed strong foreign portfolio investment inflows into the equity markets to the tune of Rs 2.74 lakh crore during 2020-21. This reflects the steadfast confidence of foreign investors in the Indian economy. India's debt to GDP ratio increased from 74% to 90% during COVID-19, noting that it expects this to drop down to 80% as a result of the country's economic recoveries. The rating agency expects a moderately worse environment for the Indian banking sectors in 2021, but headwinds would intensify if rising infections and follow-up measures affect business and economic activity. The next few months will be critical, as renewed COVID-19 surge challenges India's immature recoveries. While so far appears mild and the economy more resilient, policymakers have no room for complacency. India, which is projected to grow at an impressive rate of 12.5% this year, needs to grow at a much fast pace to make up for the unprecedented contraction of 8%. Fresh lockdowns and curfews were imposed on tens of millions of people in India as COVID-19 infections surged again and vaccine rollouts were hampered by shortages and scare over side effects.